We all know that the storyline involving the fake identity is coming to a massive climax. The walls are closing in on Cassius. His entire operation, pretending to be Nathan all these months, is falling apart at the seams. But a piece of unconfirmed information just crossed my desk, and it changes absolutely everything about how we thought this was going to end. This is not just a standard exit storyline. There is serious insider buzz suggesting that the final moments for Cassius are going to be bathed in absolute tragedy. Something about this feels hidden, like the writers are deliberately keeping the cast in the dark about the final pages of the script. We have heard whispers of a massive stunt sequence, emergency medical personnel on set, and a highly emotional breakdown involving a child actor. The speculation is running wild, and if you ask me, we are about to witness one of the most heartbreaking twists in the show's history. We are talking about a behind-the-scenes possibility that will leave the entire audience in absolute shock. Everyone assumes that Cassius is just going to make a run for it. Most viewers believe that once his true identity is fully exposed to the police and his enemies, he will realize the game is up and flee the city. The obvious explanation seems to be that he will have one final tear-jerking goodbye with James. We have all seen the spoilers about him risking his freedom just to take James to the batting cages one last time. It is a sweet, sentimental idea. People think Cassius will share a tender moment with the boy, maybe give him a piece of advice, and then vanish into the shadows before the authorities can catch up with him. Or, alternatively, fans assume that the local police will peacefully surround the batting cages, and Cassius will surrender quietly so that James does not have to witness any violence. It makes sense, right? It wraps up his arc with a neat little bow, showing that despite all his lies and manipulations, he genuinely cared for the child. That is the safe prediction. That is what the network wants you to think is going to happen. But what if that wasn't the real reason? What if someone planned this entire confrontation to go horribly wrong? What if the situation is being manipulated by someone much higher up the food chain? Let us look at the real rumor that is currently setting the internet on fire. According to this leak, Cassius will never even make it to the batting cages. Instead, this deeply meaningful farewell is going to transform into a catastrophic bloodbath due to a fatal misunderstanding. Enter Z. We know Z has been gathering intelligence long before arriving in town. Z knows exactly who Cassius is and what he has done. Z knows about the kidnapping of Jocelyn. Z knows about the deep, dark ties to Jens and the rogue operations with Ross. Z knows that Cassius spent months impersonating a beloved police officer to infiltrate the department. In Z's eyes, Cassius is not a sympathetic figure trying to say goodbye to a kid. Cassius is a highly dangerous, unpredictable ticking time bomb that needs to be neutralized immediately. The rumor suggests that Z will arrive on the scene exactly as Cassius is walking James to the car in the parking lot. From Z's perspective, this looks like the ultimate nightmare scenario. Z sees a desperate cornered criminal physically taking a child. Z will instantly conclude that Cassius is using James as a hostage to ensure his escape, or worse, kidnapping the boy out of pure malice. Not willing to risk the child's life in a high-speed chase or a prolonged hostage negotiation, Z makes a split-second, ruthless decision. Z orders the accompanying tactical snipers to take the shot. They do not hesitate. The speculation is that multiple shots will ring out across the pavement, and Cassius will be gunned down right there in the parking lot, collapsing onto the concrete before you can even open the car door. This is where the scene reportedly becomes unbearable to watch. James, completely traumatized, drops to the ground next to Cassius. The boy will be screaming, crying hysterically, wrapping his arms around the bleeding man. Through his sobs, James will scream at the armed men, shouting that they were just going to the batting cages. He will cry out that Cassius promised to play baseball with him, that he wasn't being taken away, that they were just spending the afternoon together. It is those innocent, gut-wrenching words that will cause Z to freeze. The insider buzz says that the performance in this exact moment is chilling. You will see the absolute horror wash over Z's face as the realization sets in. Z did not just take down a threat. Z just executed a man who was simply trying to keep a promise to a little boy. The leak continues to say that the tension will break when Cody suddenly arrives on the scene. Cody, who has been fiercely protective of James, will rush past the tactical agents and confirm the boy's story. Cody will scream at Z, verifying that James is telling the truth and that Cassius had no intention of hurting the child. The sheer panic will set in. Realizing the massive, catastrophic mistake, Z will frantically call for emergency medics to rush to the scene. But the rumor is that the bullet wounds are severe. Cassius will be bleeding out on the asphalt, his final moments spent looking into the tear-filled eyes of the boy he grew to love, unable to fulfill his final promise. Z will be left standing there, haunted by the guilt of pulling the trigger on a man who was, in that specific moment, just trying to do the right thing. There may be more going on here. If you ask me, a scene that complex has to have multiple layers of deception. We cannot just take the surface level tragedy at face value. What if we're looking at this the wrong way? Let us break down a few other ways this parking lot confrontation could play out, because the writers always film multiple endings to prevent leaks. Scenario 1, what if Z did not make a mistake at all? That's one possibility. What if Z knew perfectly well that Cassius was just taking James to the batting cages, but used the optics of a fake kidnapping as a convenient legal loophole to authorize lethal force? Think about it. Cassius knows way too many secrets about the agency, about Ross, about the Cold Fusion Project, and about the deep-rooted corruption within the ranks. If Cassius goes to trial, he could expose everything. Z might have orchestrated this entire sniper setup deliberately. By claiming a belief that the child was in imminent danger, Z gets a free pass to assassinate a massive liability. James's tears and Cody's confirmation wouldn't be a shocking revelation to Z. They would just be collateral emotional damage in a cold, calculated cover-up. The panic Z shows when calling the medics could be nothing more than a brilliant performance to clear the agency's name. Scenario 2. But another theory is that Cody is actually the catalyst for the tragedy. We know Cody has been suspicious and highly protective of James. What if Cody spots Cassius leading James away from the parking lot? And because Cody already knows or strongly suspects that Cassius is a dangerous fraud, Cody makes a frantic emergency call. Cody might exaggerate the situation to the dispatcher, screaming that a fugitive is abducting a child. That dispatch gets intercepted by Z's tactical team, who are already in the area hunting for Cassius. In this version of the rumor, Z only gives the kill order because Cody's panicked phone call painted Cassius as an active kidnapper. When the dust settles and Cassius is bleeding on the ground, Cody will have to live with the agonizing guilt that his own paranoia and rushed judgment caused James to witness a horrific murder. Cody's attempt to protect the boy would be the exact thing that destroys the boy's innocence forever. Scenario 3. I keep wondering whether the shooting is entirely staged, but not by Z. What if it is staged by Cassius himself? We are dealing with master manipulators here. What if Cassius knew Z was tracking him? What if Cassius wore a protective vest and rigged himself with fake blood, deliberately walking James out into the open to force Z's hand? In this wild scenario, Cassius wants to be shot in front of witnesses. He wants Z to look like a reckless monster who fired on an unarmed man and a child. By faking his own fatal injuries, Cassius creates the ultimate distraction. While Z is frozen in guilt and Cody is trying to comfort a hysterical James, Cassius's secret medical extraction team swoops in, pretending to be local paramedics. They load his lifeless-looking body into an ambulance and vanish. James is left believing his father figure is dead. Z faces a massive internal investigation, and Cassius successfully escapes the country as a ghost. Now, we have to talk about the darkest corner of the rumor mill. We have discussed misunderstandings, calculated hits, and staged deaths. But there is a hidden agenda here that could change the fabric of the show forever. The most dangerous possibility is not that Cassius dies, or that Z covers it up. The most haunting theory is that the snipers miss their intended target. Picture this. Z gives the order to fire, believing Cassius is using James as a human shield. The tactical team takes a shot from a distance, but at that exact millisecond, James trips, or reaches out to grab Cassius's hand to pull him toward the car. The bullet meant for the imposter strikes the child. Can you even imagine the fallout? Cassius, the man who lied to everyone, would have to hold the bleeding boy in his arms, realizing that his selfish desire for one last normal afternoon is what got the kid killed. Z would be instantly destroyed, having authorized the execution of an innocent child. Cody would arrive not to clear up a misunderstanding, but to witness a nightmare. It would be a point of no return for every single character involved. The sheer trauma of James taking the bullet meant for a criminal would echo through the storylines for decades. It doesn't have to be logical, and it doesn't have to be fair. It just has to be the most devastating, soul-crushing twist imaginable, leaving the audience staring at their screens in absolute horrified silence. As we wait for these episodes to air, the tension is absolutely suffocating. Will Z really pull the trigger? Will James be left traumatized on the pavement? Or is this all an elaborate misdirection planted by the production team to hide an even bigger secret? I cannot say for sure. Unconfirmed information is just that, unconfirmed. We might see the tragedy unfold exactly as the leaks describe, or we might see a last-second intervention that changes the course of history for these characters. Maybe Cassius gets away. Maybe Z realizes the truth a second before giving the order. But one thing is absolutely certain, this is not going to be a simple, quiet goodbye. The stakes are too high, the secrets are too deep, and the weapons are already drawn. Whatever happens in that parking lot, it is going to leave a permanent scar on everyone involved. Keep your eyes peeled, guys. We will be watching closely, because I guarantee you, there is a lot more to this story that has yet to be revealed.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.